Hi, writers, and welcome to our first episode of Character Lab, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of creating unforgettable characters. In today's episode, we're unpacking one of the most essential aspects of storytelling: what makes a character dynamic instead of static, and why it is so crucial for your narrative. My name is S.K. Allen. I'm the author of over 100 novel-length stories. I hold a master's in fine arts and creative writing for film and television and video games. And I have lived my entire writing life creating characters that feel real. I know this because my readers often tell me, your characters are so real. My main focus and interest is in women characters, and I write lesbian romance, so the women that I write have to feel real. If you ever wondered why some characters stay with you long after the story ends, this episode is for you. Let's break it down. Keys are flying, flicks into dreams and words, they come so soon. In the night or afternoon, heartbeat tapping, mics won't swoon. Let's start with the basics by looking at the differences between dynamic versus static characters. A dynamic character is one who undergoes significant internal change, whether that's in their personality, beliefs, or emotional state. They grow, they evolve, and sometimes they even regress. But they're never the same by the end of the story. A static character, on the other hand, remains largely unchanged. They may face challenges, but at their core, in their core beliefs, or their personality just doesn't shift. And while static characters can still serve a purpose in a story, dynamic characters are often the ones who create the most compelling narratives. You say, SK, why do you care what the character does when plot drives the story? I say, because dynamic characters mirror the way we experience life in full. Like full of challenges and growth and changes. They make stories feel real and relatable. We, as readers or viewers, connect with characters whose struggles, triumphs resonate with our own journeys. Think of your favorite character of all time. Maybe they were on a full-on redemption arc that either failed or pulled through at the end. Why would you think of them if they were the same hot mess at the end as they were when you first met them? If this was a real person in your life, you would fully disown them. And if you were reading this story, you would have thrown the book in the fireplace and forgotten all about it. Here are 3 key traits that make your characters dynamic. Number 1, believability. Dynamic characters need to feel real, like people we could actually meet. This means giving them multi-dimensional traits, strengths, flaws, desires, and fears. Their actions and decisions should make sense based on their history, their environment, and their emotional state. For example, think of a character who's driven by personal mission, but who also harbors deep insecurities about their worth. When they face difficult choice, their vulnerability and drive both play a role in shaping their decision. The result, a believable, layered character that feels like they could exist in real life. Okay, so I'm going to add one of my favorite characters here. I used to watch this show once upon a time, and if you watched it, yeah, you feel me and you know this about this person. The evil queen was my favorite character of them all. She was not quite evil, but she did what she had to do to protect herself from people that hurt her, which made her look evil to them all. And the more they threatened her, the more protective she became, until she cursed the entire land to live unhappy lives so that they would just leave her alone. She has layers, and she has a story that progresses. We see her desire to be happy, the desire to be loved, the desire for redemption play a role of the hero that she became at the end. So yes, even fantasy characters can have real emotions and can feel real. The second pillar, conflict. Conflict is the heart of the character development. Dynamic characters experience internal and external conflict that pushes them toward change, whether it's struggling with moral dilemmas, personal loss, or unspoken desires. Conflict forces them to reflect, question their beliefs, and make decisions that align with their evolving identity. Think about a hero who, in the beginning, believes in justice above all. But when faced with a situation where the concept of justice feels unfair, they have to question everything they once believed. That internal battle is the key to their transformation. Or let's look at, again, Regina, the evil queen, again. She once believed that Snow White existed only to rob her of her happiness. Snow White made Regina's mother kill her lover. Snow White made her father, the king, marry her because his little girl needed a mother. And on top of how miserable Regina tried to make Snow, she still found happiness and married her true love. Regina had taken her own ability to have children because she was married to that king, and her mother wanted her to give birth to a son that would become king so badly. Regina wanted to be a mother. And here little Snow White was having a kid by her true love, and she was miserable. Regina was just miserable. But then because of the curse that she created, she found out that her stepdaughter loved her so much and never understood why Regina was so angry at her. It made her rethink everything. The third characteristic is agency. A dynamic character isn't just shaped by the plot, they have agency to drive their own transformation. While external events shape them, they must make decisions that impact the story. Their evolution is often a result of their actions, not just the actions of others. Consider a character who starts out passive, allowing life to happen to them. But as the story progresses, they learn to take control of their choices, sparking their own change. This agency is what separates a dynamic character from one who just reacts to circumstances. And this is truly where Regina was. She was reacting to all of the things that were happening to her until she finally found a friend in her rival's daughter, Snow White's daughter, that taught her to stop reacting and just act. Though I have to say, writers did Emma a disservice by making her reactionary by the end, but I digress. It was the friendship with the savior, the curse breaker, that made Regina begin to become proactive. That in the end, Regina was no longer a villain, but a hero in her own right. Now that we've covered the traits of a dynamic character, let's talk about these pillars, 3 pillars, that should guide you in building a fully realized, evolving character. These pillars are goals, flaws, and relationships. The first pillar, goals. Every dynamic character needs clear, meaningful goals. These can be tangible or abstract, but they should be personal, driving the character's choices throughout the story. A character's goal will change as they grow, but they're always a key motivator in their arc. For instance, a character like Regina may start off wanting revenge, but over time realize that the true goal is forgiveness. This shift shows growth and forces them to reevaluate their choices. The next one is flaws. Flaws are where dynamic characters really come to life. No one is perfect, and the same should go for your characters. Flaws, whether they're physical, emotional, or psychological, add depth to realism. These imperfections often lead to internal conflicts that drive character development. Imagine a character with overinflated sense of pride. At the beginning of the story, they might refuse help from others, believing they can do it all alone. But through experiences and interactions with others, they learn humility and changing their behavior by the end. The third pillar is relationships. Relationships are absolutely crucial for dynamic characters. Characters evolve in response to the people around them, whether that's friends, enemies, mentors, lovers. Relationships challenge a character's worldview, expose their flaws, and flush them out and push them to grow in ways they never would on their own. A character might be initially closed off, unwilling to trust others, but through a significant relationship, they learn vulnerability and open up. This change often sparks their emotional or psychological growth, like what we saw between Regina, the evil queen, and the savior, or even her and Snow White. In fact, the relationship with her entire extended family changed Regina in a very profound way, in ways that fans couldn't look away from her character and her development. That's why the Evil Queen is my favorite character, or one of them, because I have so many. She is a perfect example, however, of how a character can change in a way that feels authentic and powerful. I'd love to hear your favorite dynamic characters are, so feel free to share in the comments or message me. This is where I leave it. What makes a character dynamic? Why it's so important? And how you can start building characters that grow and change in ways your readers will love. Remember, dynamic characters are the heart of any great story. They make us care, empathize, and reflect on our own experiences. Before we wrap up, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more writing tips. I am SK Allen, author, in just about every one of them, except for maybe YouTube. But I digress. I'm a writing coach, and I would love to connect with you. I offer help with narrative design and accountability. If you feel like I could help you, reach out. First 30-minute consultation is free. Also, stay tuned as I am building something special over at Patreon, where I'll be offering exclusive content and support for writers at all. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in to Character Lab. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. As always, keep writing. Bye.